Can ghosts talk? There are many people who claim to be paranormal mediums or experts who say that they are able to communicate with spirits and lost loved ones. Paranormal investigators often set out to record conversations with ghosts in haunted locations, but can ghosts really talk? It is hard to imagine a ghost popping up right in front of you and starting a conversation, but luckily that isn't exactly how it usually happens. There are many different ways that ghosts can communicate with us, some direct and others more obscure. If a ghost has an urgent message to get across to you, they might desperately try and get your attention, and then if they have enough energy, and depending on what type of ghost they are, they might be able to communicate a message through. Often, ghosts only talk when we initiate a line of communication with them. This is why people seek out mediums to send and receive messages from loved ones who have passed over. While most people seek out communication with ghosts with good intentions, there have been times in history that ghosts have conveyed messages of foreboding and warning to the human race. How to talk to ghosts? Nothing will ever get done if we sit around and wait for it to happen, and the same goes with talking to ghosts. You will probably spend your life waiting for some communication, and as luck happens you won't experience a thing. Hearing and talking to ghosts does not come naturally to most, and might even be scary just thinking about it. We also need to appreciate that we can't hear ghosts all the time. Imagine trying to run daily errands with thousands of lost souls screaming to get your attention. Attempting to communicate with a ghost is something that should not be taken lightly. There are boundaries to be aware of, and precautions to be taken. The spirit world is separate from ours for a reason. There are spirits living there that have no place in our earthly realm. If you are serious about wanting to communicate with a ghost or even the spirit of someone who has passed, here are some ways to do it. Sage. Always have sage on hand when attempting to communicate with spirits. It is an ancient herb that is used for cleansing and purifying areas and energies. A sage smudge stick can be burned before a session, clearing it of negative energy, and after communicating with a ghost to ask it to leave the space. Use conductors. Ghosts and spirits often need some help to communicate with us. They might not have the energy to just pop out a couple of words in response to our questions. There are various conductors that ghosts may communicate through. Candle flames can be used, water in a glass may ripple if a ghost is present, and scent is also a useful medium. Most investigators use video cameras and audio recording devices to capture any sounds, noises or words that our ears cannot pick up. If you hear nothing during a session, play back your tapes using good quality headphones. You might pick up on something that you didn't hear during the session. Be authentic. It might seem silly, but some people think that they need to use Old English to communicate with ghosts. This isn't necessary. Just speak openly and authentically to the spirit. It is important to remember to be respectful when communicating with a ghost, and rudeness or making demands might anger them. Stay calm and be direct. Put across exactly what you are wanting to say. The ghost or spirit will not want to hang around waiting for a question. If it becomes overwhelming or you begin to feel nervous, let the spirit know. They might not realize that they are scaring you, and may genuinely want to have open communication. Move on to another medium if the one you are using isn't working or if it is making you feel anxious. Ouija board. There are many that think that Ouija boards only bring about bad and evil spirits, but that isn't actually the case. Ouija boards are really a great way to communicate with spirits. They have all the letters in the alphabet, a few simple words like hello, goodbye, yes and no, and some numbers as well. An Ouija board works by all members of the seance placing their fingers on the planchette, which should be guided by a spirit to spell out certain words or phrases. When using an Ouija board, keep it simple. Ask questions that only require a one-word answer, as that is probably all you are going to get. The spirit isn't going to waste its time spelling out long sentences when there was a shorter, quicker alternative. How do ghosts communicate? If you are expecting a ghost to just lay out a speech for you, you might never actually notice other forms of communication being sent your way. There are certainly other ways for ghosts to talk to us and convey messages, without just saying it out in the open. Dream spirits love sending messages through dreams. Many people think that these dreams are just that, and pay no attention to them. However, if you are dreaming of a lost loved one, and especially if they are sending you a message, you should really pay attention. Dreams are a non-threatening way for spirits to contact us, and it is also easier for them as our minds are at rest and we are not putting up any resistance to outside influence. Keep a dream journal and record these dreams, taking down all the messages, words, signs, and symbols. With some research, you might be able to decipher what the message really is. Visions: you might think that you are having odd hallucinations or daydreams, but seeing something you know is not real might mean a spirit is trying to contact you. If this happens again, don't ignore it. Ask the hallucination in front of you questions, or chase that ghostly dog that dashed across your room. It may give you some answers you have been seeking, or lead you to an important place or object. Sense spirits aren't the only ones who communicate with scents and smells, but we can as well. Picture the person who you are trying to contact, and then think hard to try and remember any smells that you associate with them. For example, if you associate the smell of roses with your grandma, and she is who you want to contact, try and keep roses around your home. This could signal to the spirit that you are trying to communicate with them. Coincidences: sometimes, spirits try and send a message or try to catch our attention by placing coincidences for us to notice throughout the day. This could be hearing a song that reminds you of your father and then seeing someone at the shop who looks just like them, someone ordering his favorite meal, etc. It is such a special way for spirits to communicate with us. We just have to be aware of our surroundings and take everything in. Always be aware. If you are really wanting to communicate with spirits, you need to be aware of everything surrounding you. Don't just focus on finding a message in your dreams, or smelling a certain scent. They might even appear as a wisp of white smoke that you catch out of the corner of your eye. There is no set way for ghosts to communicate, so you need to always be aware and watching. Sometimes the most important signs are the smallest ones. Keep a record of any small, unusual things you noticed during the day. Looking back and reading your notes, you could notice a bigger picture or a pattern that would have been difficult to remember. Talk to spirits. A spirit isn't going to know that you want to communicate unless you let them know. One of the best ways to do this is by talking to a lost loved one as if they are still there. It might seem a bit silly, sitting in your room talking to nobody, but many people also feel that it comforts them, letting them speak openly and freely to the one they have loved and lost, something they haven't been able to do for a while. Speaking openly will also be a great way for a spirit to pick up on your emotions. They could use this as a lifeline to communicate back to you. It might also be a great comfort to them, hearing that you still care and think about them. Ghosts and talking. Yes, ghosts can talk, and there are many pieces of evidence of ghosts talking on records and tapes. However, it isn't always this simple. While ghosts and spirits may be able to muster up a few words, they can communicate in a whole lot of different ways. We just have to be open to receiving their messages, as well as letting them know that we want to talk.